Hello, we are the magicians, the explosion of consciousness. From 2020 to 2022, I took notes of my thoughts, mainly after sleep. There is a great deal of repetition in this book, but I've left the notes unchanged and in the same time sequence. Paul Haagensen, 2022.
Consciousness, life, energy takes up no space or time. It is and is capable of anything. It has created everything, and the material cosmos is just a part of its creation. Our normal bodies are energy with abilities we can touch, see, feel, hear, smell and taste. All the material cosmos exists through movement. Without movement it would cease to exist in an instant. Consciousness uses energy to manifest the cosmos, and all energetic movement is imbued with intelligence in one form or another. A supremely creative, all-encompassing conscious implementation of energy. It's also a never-ending process. A process of consciousness, life and energy. We have no way of knowing how to discern the three and have to accept that they are all the same. To be or not to be. To be and not to be. Nothing as we call it has everything in it, including us, and we are still in it. It consisted of endless energy and possibilities. One of its creations was space, and, because it could create some space, it could create all space, endless space. Because of space, time could exist. This space-time was a creation with endless possibilities. Life as we know it can exist in endless forms in space-time. Evolution and expansion of space could exist, and therefore, endless time. We're still in that no thing, but are enjoying this life experience in space and time. It's a process creative and should be enjoyable. We're still in the no thing. We're all together in the nothingness and live this illusion created for us. We even took part in the creation of time and space. We are not a separate but a part of the whole source of all. Separateness is part of the illusion. We appear separate in space-time, but we are not separate. We return in and out of nothingness. We do so in sleep and at death. We need it in sleep for connection to the Absolute, for connection to our very being, which is everything. Sleep is not to refresh the body but a means to connect to our creation, as we do not exist alone. That is necessary for all of us. The change from the illusory material world to the no thing, refreshing ourselves. From the no thing endless possibilities exist. From nothing everything can happen. It has no space and no time. That is space and time as we know it here. Everything can happen without our known space and time. Its possibilities go on forever in an instant. All things can happen in an instant. Our perception can't relate to nothingness. Our imagination can access nothingness, and nothingness relates to all things.
In the so-called nothingness we're all together. We're a multitude of magicians together. We all move into time and space when we desire it. The pleasure of where we came from has no bounds, but we desire to move from that source or nothingness to experience illusory creations. Everything in the material universe is in constant change. Huge inconceivable changes occur every split second. Without this rapid movement, matter, the whole material universe, would cease to exist in an instant. Even an atom knows it has to move to exist. This intelligence upwards from the atom, or smallest known particle, is created to open time and space and all things experienced by us. Should the will to move not exist, time and space would not exist. Instead, the no thing would exist. So the atom knows it has to move for this creation to continue. The atom knows this and is imbued with this form of intelligence. The intelligence connects throughout the cosmos to multiply its combinations. It's all conscious intelligence, from the smallest particle to the largest, and unlimited in creative variations of which we're a part. We are in it but must not become part of it, as the illusion can trap us. To stay in it is to accept the illusion as the reality. Stay in it while you can, enjoy it, but continue your memory of the no thing, which will keep you apart from this life experience. When we're in the no thing, our knowledge and wisdom is boundless. From this we choose to move into our body's restrictions. We're using a small restricted vehicle, which is our present body.
We describe the atom as a small particle here, but this breakdown of particles is endless. Quarks and beta quarks, numerous names are invented as the breakdown of particles continue. It will never end and goes on breaking down forever. Nothingness is well beyond the limits of our perception. Both outward and inward, macrocosmic and microcosmic. Regardless of all this research, the seemingly non-existent particles move and are all imbued with a form of intelligence. They all have a task in the creation of what we see, feel and sense. They all follow a path to keep form over time, and in many cases thousands or millions of years. Even rocks keep their forms in spite of the myriads of rapid movement within it. Eventually, even if billions of our years are involved, they move on to create different forms. We can experience material things because we are built to do this. We can see the result of the particles' activity and touch them all because the tiniest is moving intelligently and creating huge forms full of boundless energy. In the end, we are touching and seeing this energy activity, and all our other senses are conditioned to experience this pure super intelligent energy in action, which is the result of consciousness, and the result is so-called solid things. We believe in stability, we name things as though they are constant. Nothing is constant, nothing is the same from one split second to the next. We don't even sense our apparent reality in the present. We have free will and have chosen to incarnate into this form. All our cells are the doorway to the illusion around us. The form we choose is fundamentally our choice. What happens to us is our desire at a deep level. All was created by the boundless intelligent energy. Every atom is unique and imbued with its own individual form of intelligence. In one grain of sand, trillions upon trillions of atoms exist. In our bodies are an unfathomable number of atoms which create unfathomable numbers of cells. Each cell dies and is replenished again at the atomic level, but built again to match our design. Each cell is rebuilt to match each one of us individually. A complete rebuild of our bodies every 7 years. As we tick along, memories and experiences, good or bad, are built into your new bodies and remain in the rebuild. Stuff that we experience and hold on to are built in. We can head towards the positive or negative depending on how we take our experiences. A new 7-year body rebuild which is holding on to negative emotions can become very unstable and even dangerous. We can choose to rebuild in the opposite direction using the positive experiences that we feel over the next 7 years. If your body is rebuilt with the negative, then help is needed. The constant change in our bodies needs to be positive and good for us. Even if we go through much suffering, it can be turned around into a positive learning process. Don't allow anything, even the worst things, to become negative. Play the cards you're dealt in this life and play them in the best way. Don't see any hand that you're dealt as negative. See the purpose in a bad hand to make you appreciate the good one. Much help is sometimes needed as the result of a bad childhood, but the medicines we really need are banned from use. To have our minds opened up for a cure upsets the powers that be. Natural cures are not acceptable to business. Using natural cures upsets the world of business. Cures which don't work and are harmful to us are the prescribed methods for business-orientated societies. They prefer to poison us and make huge amounts of money in the process. Many of their poisons are also addictive. Doctors, health workers individually aren't the problem, but corporations are. They have the power and have the need to make money. Corporations are backed by the governments and actually infiltrate the governments to gain power. The specialists are trained to work with the corporations in order to market their huge money-making, so-called, medicine. They make our nightmare more prolonged and outlaw the true cures. We market alcohol on a vast scale, it's in everything in the media. Alcohol is one of the worst destructive drugs. They create a huge market for people requiring cures. They make out that brain cell frying alcohol is good for us. Just like they did with cigarettes in the past. Slow suicide and emotional turmoil is their quest. A huge money-making process which benefits corporations and institutions.
All atoms eventually change their path. This path can take seconds or billions of years. Eventually everything breaks apart and everything reforms, but we have control of how we're reformed, controlled by us at a deeper level. Such is the time and space that we experience. Our life's experiences can sit in there and change our newly formed bodies. 7 years is a very short time to experience such a massive change in our bodies. As an example, hatred can sit in there and send our bodies into an unpleasant next stage as it reforms itself. 7 years is the magic number for this complete change of cells. It's a very short time, so imagine the effects of the years 1 to 7, then 7 to 14. They all count, but after that the ill effects of society take hold and can ruin many lives beyond these informative years. The complete pathway needs to be reassessed, as so much of the early information which we take hold of, is warped and a detriment to us. Look towards your own inner creativity and not the second-hand creativity of others, question everything and use it in the unique way that applies to you. Schooling is wrong for us. We're not taught to question everything that we learn, but just take it in and accept it. Creativity isn't nurtured for each individual, it's taught with set pathways. The creative instincts which we were born with are systematically destroyed by the institutions. Look around you, look at the world you're in. Constant movement is that which we are all a part of, but in truth nothing is a part. When the no thing is strived for, we can experience a connection with everything. We all have this possibility of a return or a reconnection which feeds our being. Thinking of the no thing or nothing can return us to that place and connect with it. We can then start to take in the endless memory of ourselves and why we are on this journey. We are all so ancient, but all these experiences are precious. Make the most of our present journey, it is great use to us. Don't fall into a negative path. All our experiences were chosen by us at a deeper level. On a deeper level we guided ourselves to this body, our parents, our environment, our planet, our galaxy, our universe. Work through whatever occurs and stay positive about our experiences, as we can use it all. Cutting short our lives is of no use to us, give it all a chance. Try not to cut short our lives by suicide, alcohol, or any other type of abuse, all are fast suicide or slow suicide. At a deeper level we realize this, but go on with the abuse of ourselves which cuts short our lives. This abuse is a sign of not coping with this world. Ignorant behavior is experienced from birth to death. It is hard to cope with, but our job is to see into this behavior and move away from it in stages. We're conditioned by our society to intake of trash into our bodies. Even air and food is contaminated, and that, at present, is beyond our control. Many of us know we're on the wrong path but choose to do nothing about our situation. We mix with people on the same path. Many knowingly shorten their lives. Smoking and alcohol is a great example of a self-determined path to slow suicide.
The no thing has boundless energy with boundless intelligence. It allows us to use it, to be part of it and help create a reality with all its endless things. Things built of all these rapidly moving atoms. Atoms which work together to build us and build everything around us. They work with our apparent reality. The atoms hold on to their design to create this reality in this dimension for this creation. Endless combinations beyond the far reaches of our imaginations are no problem for the process of life. Other life forms take on a different process. The atoms resonate at differing speeds and create other realities, sometimes referred to as other dimensions. These other dimensions do interact at times. Usually they are of a higher vibration. The extremes of the higher vibrations have the ability to create form in an instant. We can only create imperceptible changes in form. This can only be observed at an atomic level as we are governed by the slow movement of time. Because of this we are at one of the slowest and lowest levels of existence and have no perceptible command over changes in matter. The illusion is more concrete for us and we therefore think of this life as the only reality. In that sense we become locked in matter and chained to this ultra-slow dimension. Fight this locking in process and exist in it for as long as you can, but don't become part of it. Remain apart from this life knowing that you're part of the no thing. Keep the connection, meditate into it, disconnect from the things of the world regularly. Don't think of any of the worldly things, become part of the no thing. Eventually we will grow out of greed and the need for multiple needless possessions. Everything we see is in motion. We are sensing various forms of energy. Stop the motion and everything would cease to be. Nothing is solid, it appears to be solid because we are looking at it from a distance and it's moving so fast. All we experience is space and energy. This world in which we reside furnishes us with wonderful experiences for our senses together with awful ones. Most awful experiences are created by us. We're all experiencing time and space created by pure energy. The slowness of time encapsulates matter, forms the illusion, and our senses are built to experience it. It's our energy sensing energy. We can only see the past. We never see the present. From split seconds in the past to billions of years. Space and time are related, but tremendous variables are involved as nothing is linear. If you watch a movie, a flash of light hits the screen and creates images, then the next image, and so on. The previous image vaporizes and is, apparently, lost in time. Take this through to our three-dimensional world and the same thing happens. Section by section the past vaporizes. The static objects appear to stay, but everything is in a state of flux. Everything is in the state of change, but look from far out in space and these past vaporized images can be seen. Just as the other galaxies can see our past, we can see another galaxy's past. Nothing ever truly disappears. Everything contains atoms going at fantastic speeds. Nothing is the same from one split second to the next, and it all vaporizes in one split second to the next. In fact, as mentioned before, it takes split seconds for our brain to take it in, so it's all in the past. We're observing everything in the past and therefore observing it in our memories and imagination. Nothing is actually there. This vaporization is taken in by the cosmos and all events remain there, like a complete depiction of the past.
We realize that the farther away anything is, it's further in the past. We look at the universe and observe many events far in our past. Nothing that we look at is in the present moment, nothing. Although all movement remains in the cosmos at the specific point of creation. We know that all events vaporize and we think they've gone, but we can observe things from far in the past. Just look out there, as it all expands. So the past always remains. Take the sun approximate 8 minutes away. We see the perfect image as it was 8 minutes ago. It doesn't disappear after the event as it comes to us exactly as it was 8 minutes ago. Take a star 1 light year away, therefore 1 year in the past. We see it a year in the past, then it vaporizes. The image remains stable for the whole year. Like the cinema image which takes fractions of a second then goes, but the source is still there. The light flows across for 1 year and remains an intact image. Then it vaporizes. If it didn't vaporize, then time and space would cease to exist.
Space and time require movement, but it doesn't mean that previous events are lost as our senses tell us. When time and space apparently cease to exist, it becomes the one, the singularity, the nothing, pure energy. Everything is down to pure energy, unlimited energy, the source of all. The nothing is the complete cessation of movement, energy unmoved, but the pure living, intelligent, creative energy is still there. We move on from this in slight variations for different frequencies, different speeds of energy, different dimensions, all existing but not in our time and space as we know it. We can substitute the word energy with the word life. We're all triune beings, our physical bodies, our mind which exists in every cell of our bodies, and the soul which is within the body and outside of it. Our souls are connected to the oversoul which has no boundaries. Our physical bodies are mainly space. Our cells and the atoms all contain massive amounts of space. Our souls also move within the bodily spaces. The brain might contain the most cells, synapses etc., but is only part of the mind of our bodies. Atoms are imbued with intelligence. Cells are imbued with intelligence. Every atom is unique, no duplication exists in nature. Every atom and cell in our bodies is unique. Everything is an individual, unique creation. When parts of our body cease to function caused by catastrophic conditions, our triune body knows what to do and does what it wants to do, but the physical communication to our bodies is lost. Our desire to do what it wants to do isn't lost, it eventually reconnects to its third part when it's ready to, or not at all. In which case we realize that the old body is lost to us. Amazingly, the body tries to repair the failure, and in some cases it does even after death.
An attempt at our blueprint is revived by forces beyond the mind. Although the mind is the main but not the only control center for the physical body, the builder of our complete physical unique being is connected with a deeper level of energy. We're surrounded by our personal energy. It has no definite envelope and it surrounds our body. It intermingles with other forms of energy unique to every individual, and in many cases we can read their energies. We're never alone, we will have this connection, it's a connection forever. A tremendous amount of wisdom is within our grasp if we can cut back the overwhelming connection with our body and mind and move to a deeper level. We're blocking ourselves in order to solely experience this physical experience. Too much and we lose our power of realizing what we are. In order to satisfy ourselves we get involved with a myriad distractions. We're no longer the magicians of creativity but the slaves of our toys and superficial needs. One day we'll be looking at our bodies wondering why we can no longer animate it. A partial loss of animation, or quick death then revival, is a good experience for what is to come. We will all eventually experience a complete loss of animation. We will look at the body and decide what we create next. If during our life we take in absurdities like hell and evil forces, we can create that situation. It's our desires and beliefs at the point of death. If we believe in a wonderful light and loving experience, we can create that. At death we're in the faster dimension where our thoughts create our world because we have the power to do so. We're even more into the magician stage as we don't have to wait for time and space. Our will is ascendant and fast. All your experiences of the last life and all other lives come to our attention, and all our connections with beings we've known can join us at our and their will. All beings in this state have a type of omnipresence. It's all part of the process. Anything imaginable is possible. All the things that we've denied ourselves during our heavy body experience are overridden.
We have struggled to get here in this life, and it can be a fantastic opportunity to experience as long as possible. Instead, we encourage the cessation of bodily existence to happen quickly. We poison ourselves. We've poisoned the air, the water and the land. We take the poisons directly. We don't see life as an amazing opportunity to experience as long as we can. We are the magicians and wish to destroy our experience of our chosen magic quickly, either by slow suicide or fast suicide. People of power with their greed thrive in this suicidal situation, thinking that they can escape it. Look around you, no one can escape the destruction of our living planet. It all leads to degradation of every living being on the planet. It should be an enjoyable experience for all of us. We chose to visit this place as a temporary guest, not to destroy it. Even the deterioration of our bodies can't be seen by us. We avoid looking at the whole process.
When we see our body lying there, we think we could have done more with that body. It's not always too late for some people to come back. If you don't come back, get used to the new life. Time is different instantly. It could be 1,000 years in an instant. You can bounce around at the speed of your thoughts. Get used to it. A whole new experience. The speed of thought has no limits, and we can be in many places at once. We can see our old friends in an instant, our dead friends meet us instantly, but not the living ones. We can also be in multiple positions. We're no longer constrained by time and space. We can experience this as long as we choose. What we find difficult is to have any effect on the body or any matter in the world that we have left. The world where we should have only experienced joy, many of us instead experienced sadness. The world where we should have the experienced pleasure, and not a world where we wish to retire from quickly. Stay with the world as long as you can, force the enjoyment as you have the freedom to do so. Play the hands that you're dealt. Play a bad hand, don't run away from it. Persevere and good hands will turn up. Enjoy the whole experience. Your deeper being will decide when your time to move on has come. Don't make a rash decision and cut it short.
We are the magicians, the miracle workers, along with every other living creature on this planet and every other planet. Every living creature exhibits animation of their bodies beyond our understanding. We can observe each other and everything around us in awe. We can enjoy it all. Not only are any two human beings not the same, but nothing is the same, even down to the smallest particles. Everything has individuality. We look on in awesome fascination. Time and space is a construct of us magicians. Its purpose is to experience life within that construct. We're at a level to choose how we experience the magic that life has created. We live through it as many times as we like. Improvement in our choices is the goal. Whatever we find the best is what we hold on to, and this can alter from lifetime to lifetime. In one life we can find many of our actions distasteful. It feeds through to the next life should we wish to go there. When and wherever that is. Our space-time is tremendously slow in comparison to that experienced at death, and even in relation to other beings. We can experience our lives slowly and in detail. Comparisons can be 1 second of ours could equal 1,000 years. As a result of this, our effect of the mind on matter is unnoticed, whereas people in a higher frequency can have control over matter and can create a world around them. We can hardly affect a few atoms with our full concentration. Multiply it by 1,000,000,000 times 1,000,000,000, then we can get somewhere. At death we can be omnipresent, if our will so desires. We are creative beings. In this life we can conjure things into our apparent reality with great difficulty. At death our beliefs can become reality easily. Our creativity becomes very strong. If we have strong beliefs at death, then that belief can become apparently real to us. What beliefs we take with us are important. We can create unnecessarily our own suffering. We do eventually come out of this creative doom, but it could be a lasting experience.
At birth, this amazing entity of ours anchors itself to this sluggish, slow-moving body existing in time and space. A huge step downhill, but something our inner being willingly takes on. Another life, we say, another experience, hopefully of joy. We don't break away completely, we connect with our source during sleep. We need sleep as we need to reconnect with our source. We can't put off this process. Every day we need to sleep. Before sleep, remember what you need, as all solutions to our problems can be resolved at our source. Even complex problems. We can wake up with a solution even if before sleep we could find no solution. Try not to go to sleep in a drunken stupor. Treat sleep as a great occasion. We die every night. When we look at the cosmos, we're looking at our past. We're there in the past. It's unimaginably vast and it's full of us. If it was possible to be out there in an instant, we could meet our past selves. 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000 years in the past, it's all there for us to admire. Time doesn't exist, so it all happens in an instant. We look at this vast cosmos which has taken time to evolve. If time doesn't exist, then space can't exist, which takes us to the situation that everything is a construct. A creative process which we're all involved in. Evolution is a creative instantaneous process in which time and space are created in order to carry it out. The present moment now goes on forever, an endless event from which all exists.
From the smallest known particles to the cells, all are imbued with a level of intelligence. If they stop moving, they cease to exist and are transferred back to energy. Time and space is a condition for their existence. All living things incorporate the intelligent entities to produce themselves over myriads of interactions controlled by each individual entity. From the smallest insect to the largest living entity, an incredible multiplicity of events is in action. We're all creative entities, creating what we want with these incredible intelligent minute entities. Unfathomable amounts of creative processes are going on, and we are consciously without the knowledge of what they are doing, although our soul knows. These intelligent forces are doing these processes. It goes on and on.
We look around us, all the solid objects are moving at great speed within to keep alive. In time it all dematerializes over huge tracts of time. Even with our continual restoration, all beings end. We go back to the source or no thing, for renewal after death. The whole of life and everything we see is created by movement at incredible speed. Nothing is the same from one split second to the next. When we look up at the cosmos, we're looking in the past. Looking at the movement and creativity of the past, our past. None of it is there in the present. Other civilizations do exist, but we can't see the present ones. The civilizations of the present are there somewhere, but what we see are past ones. They still exist in the cosmos and it's all there, we can observe it in awe. Starting from our present moment to billions of years in the past. It's still all with us at once. There's millions of our past selves out there. This creates a dilemma as to where the other civilizations of the present are and how to find them.
Nothing is lost as our present moments vaporize into past time. Each vaporized moment is a form within the expanding cosmos. Nothing of any existence is lost. It appears so, but each moment has to move on, allowing us to work through our creative futures. We and all the magicians around us desire this, so this desire is carried out. Comparatively with us, it's carried out in a slow way. Time moves slowly and the resonance of all the particles in our existence is slow. As a result, we have no apparent spectacular control of the particles. We can influence a small amount but nothing perceptible until we look at the atomic level. We've chosen this experience. We live this experience many times, reborn into this slow universe. It's our choice to have a long experience of it until we move on to a more rapid form of existence. With a more rapid form of existence, time speeds up. Where we had seemingly no power over matter, we find we have power over matter. These states can exist within our space-time, but our senses can rarely see a flash of them. These different states are endless and experienced by intelligent beings. We are not here to learn but to create. We have free will to create what we like. All beliefs can be brought into our existence. We have the choice, but in the end the truth is determined, whether in a flash or in thousands of years, we all get there in the end. We are here to enjoy each incarnation. To live it, to experience it, and to build up our creativity for the next episode. Everything we see vaporizes before our cognition of it. Less than a second and it's 186,000 miles away, which is nothing in cosmological terms. It is something to us. 1 year ago is 1 light year away from us. Our past and our future is all around us. We see the past easily. The future is there but is much more indescribable. Everything is here at once, but we've chosen to exist in time and space and experience it instant by instant. Every living being has chosen this experience. We should all enjoy it. The more we experience, the more the cosmos expands. We magicians and the cosmos are intrinsically linked. From the smallest particle to the largest living being. We're all leaving our perfect imprint. Look out of that body of ours, it's all there. Look at the experience of our lives. Look deeper than the scientific facts and new discoveries that are coming to light. Go deeper. We know we evolved from the sea around 1 billion years ago. The root of our being and creative evolution emerged from that medium. We still carry a little of that ocean around in our bodies. We are created in the womb, which is a little ocean. We haven't moved away from it, we've taken it with us. Creatively, we know that it's the best solution for the birth of a new human body. That is the strongest connection to the sea and a giver of our present form. We're looking at our consciousness, not the mechanical interpretation of it. Very slowly we're evolving, we're looking for the next stage to create. It could be in a new body on this earth, or it could be something different. Another planet, another dimension. We are not here for constantly gaining scientific knowledge but to create. Create in the present moment and endless moment of now. What a gift this is, to come out of nothing and to experience everything in a material sense. We've even chosen short lives and early deaths. We choose abuse of our bodies and poisons for a good slow suicide. With the poisons all around us besides those within us. This wonderful body that we've created is abused, but it still goes on and on. We chose this life and it is not a gift to be destroyed early while we are connected to it. It's our creation. Our agenda and the process that we go through. It's our choice. We can even choose to go on in a disabled body as long as we can manage it. Our agenda in many circumstances doesn't come to light while we're here, but in the end we can accept it as part of the process. The universe is expanding. Every moment of time takes up more space, as space and time are inextricably linked. The recent past is just behind us, as is a new part of the universe. Time exists and therefore space. Time ticks along and space expands. The past requires space to be the past. Nothing is lost in this universe. It contains all time and all space. All is relative. Look out at the stars. Look out at the past and look very deep in the past, depending on which part of the cosmos you focus on. We are very limited in our perceptions. We depend upon our eyes to see our past. It's just a limited organ created just for our bodies and constructed for use in our perception of this slow and limited view of space and time. Thoughts come to us from a higher level, inspirational thoughts, many of which we fail to comprehend. Scientific gobbledygook can cloud our intuitive perceptions. Stillness and removal of the chattering monkey of human preconceived ideas has to be stilled in order to get true original and creative thoughts. Get rid of the conditioning and go through to the true and original inspired thoughts. Don't connect your thought to the distorted myths and perception of others. Expand from your inner knowledge which is true to you and not copied from others. We have the ability to create original thoughts and expand on them to a new level. A level beyond that mess of a civilization that we have created.
Go beyond the perception which our eyes bring and close them as your eyes take over most of your processes. Try to go around thoughts of our material existence. Your whole body is a sense organ, as every molecule of your body is intelligent and unique to you. It's not just the brain. No one else translates the processes in the same way. We're all individuals and we all contribute to the creativity. Still the dramas within your mind and skirt around the primitive emotions of the life that surrounds you. Life has conditioned us with false ideas and emotions from birth onwards. From birth we were sent bad messages alien to what we are. Removal from the mother with a smack at birth are an immediate message from ignorant sources. Born in sin, die in sin, and other ridiculous notions, are all forced onto our psyche. Cruelty is needlessly shown to us in our first few years while humanity sees it as a necessity for life. We go on with this cruelty to all other forms of life. Schooling rips us apart from a young age, particularly where the child is sent away. We suffer tremendous damage from early on and it builds into our first 7 years in a dramatic way. As time moves on, space expands. The universe keeps all history within it, whether the human race or all other races. All happenings create more expansion. What we don't want is the cruel continuation which has been created by religious and political fanatics. We must stop the expansion of this and negate the cruel false world that we're in. Look around you and read the news. We're expanding this type of universe around us. Ugliness is everywhere, which gets far worse and concentrated in cities. Most architecture reflects the awful presence of bad taste, which reflects the vision of this age. After death we're still in charge, but with an extra huge arsenal of knowledge. At birth we purposely hide our knowledge of past lives in order to get focus with this one. After death everything opens up to us. At a deeper level we guide ourselves through the death process and the disconnection from the body to a process where we open out to a wide, wonderful new experience. We're back and in the place where we have always been, the source. Connected and aware of the boundless inner universe of ourselves and everything around us. This is where anything is possible, even a move back to a similar life, if we wish, in this backward world. Or we may choose to join a more advanced civilization with totally different concepts. Time and space are not the same, nor is movement. During this life we're not equipped to understand it. Perhaps it would be like describing a color to a person who has been blind from birth. After death, our thoughts have a powerful influence on how we move and where we move to. We can be at a destination in an instant. The speed of thought has no bounds. We are back to our pre-birth experience. The residuals of our death can stand in the way. Especially strong and absurd beliefs developed in our lives. We're also okay and do not need the hindrance of people in the last life being concerned about us and partly drawing us back to them. To many of us this is all unbelievable and prefer to hold on to antiquated and impossible beliefs, residuals of the strong powers over you in the last life. An individual can refuse to move on after death and cling to the last life and beliefs. Beliefs which, in many cases, are absurd. Death and your awakening is a natural, unstoppable process. As mentioned before, we can hold on to our strong beliefs and make them real to us. We can create awful experiences for ourselves after death because these beliefs were so strong during the last life. Our imagination has tremendous power after death. Time is different and limitless if we want it to be. We can work through and experience all the beliefs and imaginings that we want to in great detail, if we require. In many cases we need to go through this process. Judgment of ourselves and anyone else does not take place. Judgment of ourselves in our past life does not take place as we move on beyond that type of thought process. After death we see things the way they really are and are meant to be. Everything opens up to us and we see that judgment is not necessary, even in the most extreme cases. We're the most immaculate beings when we're born, as every mother knows. We're born perfect, but our reactions to our lives' events can easily damage this wonderful perfection at birth. We go back to that and see through what we became. We're all back to innocence and part of a wonderful wholeness in which ignorance doesn't take hold. The devil and evil do not exist, they were merely a result of man's myths and created to dominate and ruin our past lives. They were created over generations for the control and destruction of the masses. Even the perpetrators of the myths started to believe them and they grew stronger as centuries passed. The living, intelligent, boundless energy of which we're all a part comforts us all after death. Once we rid ourselves of the absurd ideas that we took in during life and eventually take in only the positive aspects of it. After death the truth is at hand to us as our understanding increases. We start to see the wonderful situation we're in after death, but to a few it comes very slowly. It's our choice if we hold on to absurd myths which can cause us great suffering after death, but they are not eternal. We still continue with our free will and find out how magical we all are. We are outside of all the exploitation, the greed, and the falsities experienced in the past life. Whether we were the perpetrators of it or the victims of it, we can study it all. We are no longer in the state of not knowing, a state of no memory. The life we left only gave us the feelings of previous lives. At the birth of your last life your memories were wiped clean. Sometimes memories survive birth, but this is rare. We still go on to forget them as we mature. Feelings and instincts do persist from previous lives and death situations, but there is no purpose for it to dominate in your present life, and life is a present. If memories of past lives and the in-between state are very strong, they can hinder our purpose in this life unless there's a special reason for it. Religions and political bodies are afraid of genuine cases of reincarnation. It has a very bad effect on their business. When we are opened up to all this, we fight against war and killing each other. Again, this is bad for business. The masses need to be controlled by the earthly powers that be, in order to keep the business flowing, even if it means the destruction of our planet.
We have to get along with the life we are in. Before birth we approach the valley of forgetfulness, but we don't lose the connection of who we are and will ever be. That individual has huge power even at birth. The power to function and magically control every cell of our being, myriads upon myriads of them. Lives and all other lives really are a magical process using boundless forces of which we are no longer aware. Every life has an agenda, whether we live for 1 hour or 100 years. Whether we're in a faulty body or a magnificent body, it's an agenda which we willed for in moving forward. The valley of forgetfulness plays a major part in all this. There is no hell, there is only heaven. We're in it and we can make it what we want. Hell is created by us if we want it, and so far we're doing very well. There is no devil, that is also created by us. We take in the old myths and imagine our own version of them as we go along. The myth creators have done nothing to help us in our striving to experience the heaven that we're in. The perpetrators who continue to preach absurd myths are responsible for the suffering of normal men, women and children. From day one they work on us. No large civilization on earth is free of this nonsense. The ignorant members of which always seem to get power to force their nonsense on us. The truth is within each one of us.
We are trillions of cells all working in unison. All work together and create us. We're not only the magicians of it, but each one of us is trillions. Unimaginable numbers of cells, bacteria and forces in unfathomable action. This complex union can be disturbed by disease or dis-ease. We need to constantly interact with all these wonderful processes and contact our bodies at the deepest level. We need to hear the cries from inside because we have a lot to fight. Whether it's the poisons we take in or misinformation, both can be equally lethal. In ancient times they used to take in their own effluent. Sewage systems were non-existent and still are in various parts of the planet. A valuable resource fired in the wrong direction. We all still do the same thing, whether it's brain-frying toxins from alcohol or industrial and commercial toxins, we're all doing it. As advanced as we are, we just accept the status quo.
We cannot describe a color to a blind person. We can't describe sound to a deaf person. We can try but can never describe it to them. After death we can see and hear, but many other senses kick in. Describing them is difficult, but we remotely know them. The valley of forgetfulness which preceded our birth took it all away. Now and again a remembrance will occur. The power of thought and imagination come to the foreground when we remember. We have power over the atoms surrounding us, but our slow time makes it unnoticeable. We have connections to all living beings, but time lessens the connections. Time at this level was created by us to experience these illusions, to fundamentally create separateness. We cannot describe a color to a blind person. We can't describe sound to a deaf person. We can try but can never describe it to them. After death we can see and hear, but many other senses kick in. Describing them is difficult, but we remotely know them. The valley of forgetfulness which preceded our birth took it all away. Now and again a remembrance will occur. The power of thought and imagination come to the foreground when we remember. We have power over the atoms surrounding us, but our slow time makes it unnoticeable. We have connections to all living beings, but time lessens the connections. Time at this level was created by us to experience these illusions, to fundamentally create separateness. We're all co-conspirators in this, after eons of so-called time. A guru once described an eon of time like this: climb up the highest mountain, stroke it with a feather on its peak. Go down and up again and stroke the feather on its peak. Repeat and repeat until the mountain is flat. We need these analogies to comprehend what we are part of. We never end, we just change form, so the valley of forgetfulness is essential to cope with endlessness. We can create different futures in anything that we can think of. After we shed the body, we're then open to endless possibilities. We have endless eons to do it in. We're all co-conspirators in endless possibilities.
Being born is a great struggle, so make the most of it. Don't purposely cut life short, although many outside factors do cut it short. Do what you can to get away from our industrial poisons in the land, food, air, and water. We've made it impossible to live a long and healthy life, but do what you can. We can try to avoid taking in the poisons. We can indulge in slow suicide, but try to get another hobby. Our evolution is very slow, but we have endless time and space to do it in. The creative variations we choose are endless, but we do get help from outside. Sleep on any problem and answers come. Answers that we can't possibly complete in the wakeful state. We really have two worlds to work in. Proper use of wakefulness, sleep and meditation can't be overemphasized. Meditation can be carried out anywhere at any time. Body positions, walking, concentrating on the breath, are all useful for meditation. Chanting, the sound of the sea while walking, the sound of wind, the observation of waves are all useful for the process. A process which can contribute to great creativity. We're witnessing tremendous changes. We now need to be able to perceive science and technology in greater detail. To see the bad side of our discoveries which have been put into action. Industrial and corporate greed have blinded us from the consequences. They will continue to do so with the help of the media. Sleep and meditate on all these advances. Many solutions have been found, but industrial and corporate giants will quash our answers. Greed and power stops countries from interaction. Look around you, do the human bodies in the wealthy look right? Or the bodies of the poor look right, although they may look better than those of the wealthy? We have a reflection there of the way we live and think. Observe people who achieve, so-called, success. Look at their rapid deterioration. Observe it all around you. We have the ability to observe worldwide the deterioration in countries and individuals brought about through power and greed. Sometimes individuals mean well but are overshadowed by the ones who have it all. They live in the shadows of corporations and governments wielding power. They inevitably create death for poor children and families throughout the world. They don't care about the deaths of children on a massive scale. Instead, countries fight countries because of ideological myths and governmental constructs, while the injustice and death continues. Pour trillions into defense while millions die through the lack of basics. They have their defense toys and create excuses to attack the weak in order to try them out or defend themselves. Play the war games, don't look to make the world a more enriched and meaningful place. Destruction rather than nurture. What primitive beings we are with all these advanced assets at our disposal. It takes thousands of years. Going through the valley of forgetfulness many times. Then we can change. Then we will have many more residual memories come through. The only way that we can improve and evolve as more decent entities is through residual memories. When many die through neglect or abuse, they create strong residual memories. That carries on, and we have empathy for others in the bad situations that they were in. We feel great shame for another's bad situation. Whereas before we could watch even a race of people die without concern. After we reach this point, the will to create change is within us. We may be in a position to do something about the inequalities. Or just suffer with shame about our world. This primitive world houses suffering on a colossal scale, and fortunately the media, at present, highlights it. Soil degradation is another huge problem. At one time we had the fourfold agricultural system. It worked and rich soil was maintained with all its natural ingredients. This method left it all to Mother Nature. It was unbeatable. It was 4 equal fields. The first 3 fields would grow different crops and the fourth left idle for 1 year. This system would rotate each year. Other methods such as this could help, but they're all natural and it worked. Instead we moved on to intensive farming of the land, giving it no recovery period and intensive use of chemicals to make up the difference. The chemicals taken in by our bodies has a serious long-term effect. The body doesn't release them, they build up slowly with serious consequences. Apart from the addition of chemicals to soil is the effect of deep plowing. Fungi develop underground connections which are endless. They're beneficial for the soil. They have their own communication systems. The fruiting bodies that we see are only a tiny part of the process. Soils become healthy with all these natural processes. Instead we tear the soil apart and add chemicals which not only go into plants and animals but also the rivers and oceans. It's all carried out on a huge industrial scale. Besides all these problems where we have destroyed many forests, land dust bowls emerge. Destroying forests can cause flooding. The negative effects are endless and the results can be seen on a massive progressive stage each year. Clearing of trees also has a serious consequence. After all, how long do we survive without oxygen? We destroy the lungs of the earth. We take in oxygen and give out as waste carbon dioxide. Trees take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. We have a wonderful natural ecosystem which keeps our bodies healthy, all of which we're destroying. We poison the sea, land, and air. We're also finding out how many unsuspected things contribute to the world health. Microorganisms in the ocean do the same job as trees, again on a massive scale. Even whales have an important role to play. The excrement of whales feed the diatoms of the ocean. The diatoms are the bottom of the oceanic food chain. Diatoms, like trees, take in huge amounts of carbon dioxide and give off our, human life-giving oxygen. All living creatures have an important role. Before we wipe something off this planet of ours, we've really got to understand the consequences. All the movements to poison our earth alongside a quest to prolong our lives. We try to use surgery and drugs to counteract the damage, alongside our quest for an artificially induced longer life. We're heading for a quality of life which is unpleasant. The way we have ordered things with death, then coming back in another form with no outward memories of life before seems good, a good move by us magicians. This planet we're in still seems reparable once we get the knowledge. To clean up and nurture our planet for the future seems right. To live in an unhealthy poisoned world and then to extend life with transplants and cell manipulation is a detrimental step for the future. That is the primitive behavior we're all involved in. The scientists believe that they can repair their problems, but this creates more problems. We can all gain a connection with the Oversoul. It speaks to us all, but we can't seem to listen. Many of us have other voices, but the Oversoul has the most distinct one. Through meditation we can start a connection. Each one of us is extremely important and each individual has the potential for a unique connection. Inspired thoughts are the cornerstone of great answers. The base chakra is an important start in meditation. Many of us are well connected to it through our sexual energy, our base energy exchange. It's the basis of our concentration in meditation. We can concentrate on moving up the 7 chakra centers to eventually reach the crown chakra. Don't neglect any chakra, concentrate on them all for a whole experience.
What we choose is what we become. We are constricted by time, but it will happen through our desires. Our desires will be carried out, maybe over many lifetimes, but we will get there. One of the main things in this life is to be happy. Depression is easily chosen by many of us. We can pull out of it and think happiness. Keep happiness in our thoughts and it will happen. For some of us it may take a longer time, but it's the right way to go. Some of us are lost in great sadness and they have a great problem. The cards that we're dealt in life can be so hard to cope with. Flow past it and look towards a bright future.
If we have lost someone close, they don't want you to be sad. Our sadness can draw them back. They might be able to help us, but it's not good for them. It will cheer them up if we're living your lives in a state of happiness. Some conditions in life can become intolerable, but we must think ourselves out of it. Depression can end our lives quickly, but always have hope and think about happiness and will it to happen. Everything is imbued with intelligence. We're a part of all that is. We have intelligence and we're now aware of our intelligence. We're aware of ourselves. This awareness of ourselves has huge implications. We can develop this awareness to a point where we can connect with all of life. Life is everything or all that is, and development of the process of connection to life is a wonderful step forward for each one of us. We then find that we're not alone in this. We're all connected and more closely connected as human beings and all of nature. Forces are at work behind the scenes sending us messages. Many of us have no time to observe the messages. Animals, birds, insects are in natural communication with forces beyond our comprehension, but they send us meaningful messages. Our awareness of our awareness can be developed by concentrating on the breath alone. Breathing in the life-giving air and giving it our complete attention connects us with life. A few minutes each day giving it our soul or soul attention increases our connection, awareness of life and of ourselves. Look into the mirror and ask, who am I? Look intensely at your reflection and continually ask the question, who am I? This face and those eyes, which are uniquely individual to each one of us, are seeing each other and have come about through a process which we are becoming aware of. Meditate on the breath and close your eyes, then look into the point above your eyes. Concentrate on the blue mist that appears. Observe the center of your forehead. Carry on with these three processes each day. Cut back any thoughts of the material world. The connection with life will come and open you up to your endless possibilities. We can rise beyond the natural intelligence which is in everything because we're aware of it. The atoms, rocks and all the materials we see and can't see have a reason. They're a pathway for tremendous activity, but are contained to a design which in many cases pervades over tremendous periods of time. They're aware of what they have to do to live, but they're not aware of their awareness. We rose out of matter and are now aware of our matter. Our soul does it all for us, but we now know this. We now know of the myriads of cells and processes which are carried out by us. Because we have become aware of this, we can connect and start to understand our lives and deaths. An understanding of which leads us to the awareness that we're endless with endless forms and power to create new forms, and can move on to process matter with thought alone. We never die and we change form as we desire. This process has been going on regardless of our awareness over vast tracts of time, eons in fact. The time has come for us to be more conscious of the processes and connect with our souls. We truly are the magicians who are finding out that we are the magicians. We are capable of great creativity and endless life forms within this living cosmos. Nothing has come about by accident, and it's all precious with love at its heart. Have you ever thought that your intelligence is much more than this? It is intelligence filtered from our soul through our bodies and into our world. All bodies have a massive restriction in communication. Many of us have bodies which can remember and process thoughts better, but the heavy restriction is still there and we know it. If we're born in the English-speaking world many times consecutively, then other languages can be more difficult depending on the limitations of the body we're given. When a child is born, it has complete innocence. The senses are in action from the first seconds and can be fed with good or bad sensations of this new world. These sensations give it an idea of how to cope with this world. The child can develop into a magnificent human being or not, depending on the inputs. We are immense building entities. We think up our world in dreams. We awake to this immense world which we think is reality. In truth, it's a massive conglomeration of thought. Think and it is, but this has taken eons of time, or time as we comprehend it. We are consumed in space-time, and an eon is beyond our imagination. It's not understandable to us as we're only just coming out of the period of a type of mechanistic thinking. We look at the cosmos as something which is in the present and not taking enough account that everything is in the past. The cosmos that we observe is our past evolving. It's us building our futures. We're visiting this huge thought process. I use the word machine loosely. In fact, all the words used are only to give a vague outline of us. They do present some form of picture to ponder over, but we are heavily limited. Nevertheless, it's worth studying the description of our present situation in words which we have at hand. The present moment is a present to us which we don't value enough. A present precious moment. Then another, and so it goes on never ending. We are dwelling in a great thought. We are a part of that great thought and have power over our futures. Creativity is our desire. We think the world has limitations and laws. There are no limitations and laws. We like to dissect the whole of our apparent reality into the law of this and the law of that, and place it in a monumental and unchangeable form forever. These words of stone will fade and die. We then create other laws which dwell in our minds at this present time. Many laws of the past were entirely wrong, and many future laws will be the same. Our planet is a gift of endless beauty. A result of eons of creativity which can be observed more before many parts of it cease. Advanced civilizations can create a paradise of destruction. Attempts are being made to bring nature back into concrete environments. We soon tire of this concrete world, with its concrete towers, with its endless laws. We look around us thinking that we've created a wonderland. Destroying the foundations of something of real wonder. Cozy boxes and cozy moving boxes have gross limitations, and our desires need to be looked at more closely. We retire from this insane situation into a digital world. Moving dots on screens and electronic vibrations called sound. Our primitive desires have taken us away from a world of beauty into a nightmare called an advanced race. So-called advanced technology in the hands of primitive beings.
We are constantly creating ourselves. Renouncement of all earthly passion and human desire is the result of seeing what it is and seeing through the illusion. But love the illusion as it has served us in our path to freedom. It fuels the engine of creation. Creation is the key, it's our purpose. The results do not matter, creation matters. The passion for creativity is the path to the source. Don't resist anything in life, resistance makes it real. Acceptance makes the material world become unreal. By accepting all things we can see through them to the illusion that they are. Resistance makes it real, we can no longer see through it. Don't resist and hold on to this reality. Accept it and see beyond it. All thought is creative. Look at the reality as our creation and choose what you want from reality. Do not ever renounce anything but choose a different path. Don't resist temptation but turn away from it. The point of life isn't to get somewhere but is to realize that you're already there. Create who and what you are and then experience that. When we dream, we are connected to a very advanced world. Even the most complex problems can be solved with a night's sleep. Sleep connects us all at a deeper level. Also, our friends are there to help us. The past travels away from us at the speed of light. We cannot see the immediate past as it doesn't travel back to us. We see light from the past, it is our past. We see it as it no longer travels away from us but towards us. When we are no longer of the material world, we can watch rocks and heavy material objects dissolve as we are no longer in time. We took part in creating this almost static universe to inhabit and enjoy. The atoms become free of the form they created. That minuscule atom in that tiny grain of sand follows a set purpose, then the atom becomes free. The speed of light is described as the ultimate in the process, but we need to question this. The rocks break down into sand, Each grain of sand consists of trillions of atoms that also breaks down, and after this freedom from matter it seeks to reform itself. It tries to reform from pure energy into an atom. It has a strong need to do this and travels back to form the atom. Many types of energy are involved in this process of reform, not only electricity. This process goes on, it's never ending, breaking down and reforming, helped by many of Earth's processes. Throughout the cosmos it's all at work, from a grain of sand to a galaxy. We're all part of this. Our bodies break down and reform completely over a magical 7 years. The atoms move out and move in and reform in us, following our deepest desires. Time has given us the opportunity to experience this. With no time we can watch matter dissolve as it relies on time to exist.
Children say when there's a problem it doesn't matter. How right they are. They have recently arrived from no time, no place and no space. They have joined into our lives, our illusion, and they sometimes find that it doesn't matter because they know the existence before. We lose that connection and life becomes serious, it then matters. How we move on from our first heartbeat is up to us. We're indoctrinated into other people's thought as we grow. Many take the easy way out and accept a path to follow. A path which is from other people's ideas. This isn't the path to follow, as we're all individuals with our own ideas. Many have their own ideas knocked out of them and take the easy option if following what is set out for them in their own societies. The term "it doesn't matter" ceases to be. Serious movements of non-individualism takes place. What we came here to do, which is to develop our creative thoughts, is knocked out of us. We're all born with great tenacity and an inner purpose. It's all taken away by the thinking of others who determine how the world is run. Young people's voices go unheard. Many in the end accept what they know is wrong and live their lives that way. They let others do the thinking because it's easier that way. We can see many bad forces at work in each society. The rulers of these societies are beyond reproach, even though we know they're completely wrong. We all need to look at everything again and walk in awareness, taking a fresh look at all the forces which have been thrown upon us. Walk in awareness and take nothing on its face value. Once we let ourselves move into false materialism, we develop the need for material overabundance, which leads to greed and domination of others. We then start to fear the other side. We fear everything non-material. The cosmos which we're in becomes real and serious stuff. We can't go back to our childhood realization that it doesn't matter. Some of us after many lives start to know who we are. They live in the world and not of it. They don't crave the material. They don't crave greed and the desire to have all this stuff. Money and power and influence. They have gone beyond that and live in awareness. They see the people tied into these things as extremely backward individuals. The car, the house, the mortgage, the wife, the children, it all goes on in an endless vicious circle. The circle of material life. Life has a purpose, and the purpose is moving ahead as creative beings. That is what we all are or were. We die, we change form, we live. It goes on and on, but at the same time we gain innate knowledge. We become more aware, more caring. We're sometimes subject to great cruelty when we know what it's like. We change. The next life we're better individuals, we understand, and our awareness builds with each new generation. The ones that rise to the top return many times to the bottom of society and into a situation they have to experience. We all choose this when we're not in the material world. We choose a better path. The path ultimately is for more joy when on the earth in our physical suits. It may take great swathes of time, but it will happen. This body we've chosen is for this earth. Everything about the body is adapted to life on earth. We can indulge in it pleasures in space and time, here and now. Our vision of space travel and other worlds isn't designed for this body. This body we have is designed for this earth. Experience this life now. Leave the cosmos to itself, as nothing out there is for this present body. If the desire is to experience other worlds, leave it to our desires and we will get there, but not in this earthly suit. When we get there, we'll find that we have the body suited to the world that we arrive in. That's not necessarily a dense material world, but a world that our will takes us to. Energy has created time and space so that we can exist to experience it. Our bodies require energy to exist in time and space. All living things require large amounts of energy to exist, and other inanimate parts of the material world use energy to exist. Even the atom uses energy. All our bodily organs require energy. The sun radiates vast amounts of energy and provides all its surroundings with energy to develop life. Time and space allow energy to create multiple life forms. Everything in the material world revolves and evolves with energy. This material world is the result of eons of space-time. Its building blocks are pure energy. The amount of energy within the cosmos is endless. Energy has boundless intelligence and is immutable. The word energy and life are really indistinguishable in our present understanding. Energy has created time and space so that we can exist to experience it. Our bodies require energy to exist in time and space. All living things require large amounts of energy to exist, and other inanimate parts of the material world use energy to exist. Even the atom uses energy. All our bodily organs require energy. The sun radiates vast amounts of energy and provides all its surroundings with energy to develop life. Time and space allow energy to create multiple life forms. Everything in the material world revolves and evolves with energy. This material world is the result of eons of space-time. Its building blocks are pure energy. The amount of energy within the cosmos is endless. Energy has boundless intelligence and is immutable. The word energy and life are really indistinguishable in our present understanding. Schooling, education, and whatever else we call it is the means of control. It drives us to false ideologies. We're fed by a tight state manipulated construct of others. Most of the drives, in the end, are just for the body. Comfort for the body, marriage for the body, a state manipulated and structured family. Life with multiple types of food and brain frying booze for the body. The multiple needs created by these societies, mortgages, false needs, transport, and all the other toys with which societies envelope us, negate the need to do anything else. We become imprisoned into the state's needs. Our three-part being of body, mind, and spirit becomes a one-part being called the body. All the magical functions which go on behind the scenes are accepted and abused. Even the body isn't maintained correctly in the end. The three-part being gets involved in slow suicide of the one-part being it has become. A one-part being acting within the dictates of the society in which it lives.
We're all born great individuals, we all can contribute a lot to ourselves and everyone else, but this is all stunted from birth onwards. Only a few individuals survive this process. Even then, the people with power can hold back great and new ideas. The evolution away from this worldwide autocracy is a big challenge for our generation and our future generations. Societies reinforce their unbending formulas for living with more force by means of the media. Once we bow out of our initial enthusiasm for life, the media continues the process. Everything is automatically geared towards false needs. We strive and fight to give our bodies all the stuff suggested by the media. We become engrossed in it. It's all cleverly packaged and geared to the body adornment and comfort. Simplicity and the advancement of our three-part being is weakened further. The need for more media intervention becomes endemic. The media fed by the state becomes a very powerful tool. It's designed to follow strict rules, whether in religion, rules of society, all created by others. We are not ourselves, we're automatons going about with set and similar patterns. Rules upon rules, laws upon laws, empowered by state and religion. Rules and ideas mainly enforced by the strong and ignorant. Those that follow them creep up the ladder, those that think are taken out by whatever means available. Most societies do it in an unseen manner, but some do it openly. Observe and be aware of what you are. Most of us only realize that we're following the wrong way of life in the last years. Some of us who've had a near-death experience change for the better. They no longer need the huge houses and masses of luxuries because they now realize that this is a cleverly planned distraction. Some eagerly gather money and luxuries for most of their lives, then they think. Something happens in a near-death experience which gets us thinking again, why this, why that, why this rule, why that rule. A palace can become like a prison. It shields us from the experience and observation of the world around us and the ongoing creativity within this world. We need to sit still and gear all our senses, not imprison them. It shouldn't take a near-death experience to give us a clue. The clues are all around us. The advantage of the near-death experience is that within seconds we can go through what, to us, is huge sectors of time. Time has changed. A life can be experienced in seconds, but it takes death to do it. The knowledge that we gain can create a complete change in our way forward. Greed and overwhelming bodily need can be extinguished in an instant. Our knowledge of life can be greatly enhanced. Our advancement should be closely looked at. The means of the media should be a means to help us. It should be to enhance the three-part being which we are and not just the bodily part of us. To give us the thirst for creativity and mindfulness which we had when born. The near-death experience is like a rebirth and a replenishment of our three-part entity. We are guided in sleep and meditation, but it's not fast enough to halt the rot which we now face. Time is a luxury that life has created, of which we are a part. We are or should be co-creators within this time of ours. We shouldn't waste it. We shouldn't waste generation after generation. We need to enhance the future generations with a good start. A more open start, not bound by strict rules. Strict rules were enforced by religions and tyrannical leaders. Hard rules, hard laws and dictators are still with us. Societies aren't allowed to flower as it lessens their power. Start with the children and cleverly move it on from there with all the science to enhance their power. Treat them as bodies, memory banks and automatons. Nothing else is allowed, as it decreases their power. Extinguish the ones that resist behind the scenes if necessary. When we walk on the earth, we are really walking on nothingness. What allows us to experience this walking on earth is energy. Energy creates the nothingness, going around the nothingness into each atom. The countless atoms of the earth create what appears to be a solid mass. Our bodies don't fall into it, as it's energy walking above energy. The energy creates all of this. We're really walking on nothingness, and the unseen energy is allowing us to experience so-called mass. Everything we see is life at work, or energy at work at a superpower level. The beauty of a flower, the intricacies of a snowflake, we're observing the great energy at work. Creating and building from the no thing. We're walking on energy, feeling energy, touching energy, appreciating it in all its forms of creation. Substitute energy with life, we're all part of it. We create ourselves second by second. We're observing the creativity and indulging within it. We observe the cosmos and we see the cosmos in ourselves. The power of the no thing is used by all of us to create each one of us in endless forms and situations.
Look at anything, at leaves, trees, ourselves and so-called inanimate objects. All are taking up space and therefore time. Even the atom takes up space and therefore time. Space-time forms all things in the material world. Space creates time, but time doesn't produce space. In endless space all forms of matter can be created. Time sets the limit on these creations. The time limit on the formation of a flower is so small compared to the time limit in the formation of iron. The creations which have a fleeting existence are particularly desirable to our senses. The flower, the light flashing through water, or flashing through the atmosphere. We really are in a special place. We desire beauty, it feeds us. The pleasure of sight, touch, hearing are all our immediate pleasures, but deeper pleasures are possible, and we all know this. The power of a healer's touch can give us great pleasure. The presence of an enlightened being can give us great pleasure. Interaction with other beings and nature can do the same. They all go beyond the immediate senses. Empirical science dulls us to these sensations. In the mind of the empiricist nothing can exist until proved. Our limited senses can never prove many beneficial steps forward. Empiricism held us back, but now we have to accept what cannot be proved. Many of us can sense things beyond what science will never understand or prove. In that way we're held back by these rigid beliefs. These beliefs belittle and simplify the immensity of the things around us. Everything is categorized, but everything is different. No two atoms are the same, but we can see things acting in unison to create and recreate. We are all dense light bodies moving around on a dense light world. We've built these dense energy bodies to interact with our dense world. We can use it to create and build using this dense matter around us. We play and live within this dense matter. We've restricted ourselves. No longer can we build from the mind alone, we have to interact with the body that we built to have matter do what we want. We also have to interact with multiple life forms that have built many energy bodies in an inconceivable variety of forms. We've used many of these energy bodies to build our own bodies. We use them in harmony. Unknowable numbers of interactions keep us functioning in harmony with all these living entities. We will them all to work with us and create a healthy body. A breakdown in harmony can cause us to break down our bodies. The ease that our whole selves work together becomes a state of dis-ease and will lead to life-threatening events. We rise in stillness as nature dances all around us. We direct the dance of trillions within our bodies. Our simple thoughts arise within the cacophony of knowledge. Our purpose is unknown. Our drives are unknowable, but we are what we make them. The vast multiplicity of energy enacts a purpose. We can negate that purpose. Deny it or enact it. Each one of us has a special gift to fulfill. We can deny it or use it. When we meet each other, it's one form of energy meeting another. We touch and our energy density causes us to be reasonably solid. When we look around us, we're seeing the results of energy in formation. The delicate and fleeting energy of a flower is there with beauty and is touchable. The beauty of the atmosphere is energy spread out and is hard to touch, but we can feel its winds and see its colors. All is energy in formation or information. We're not restricted to the present body. We can be responsible for a new formation, whether in human form or other forms. It's all up to our unknown or subconscious selves in connection with everything else. Our higher selves determine our future and the way forward which is best for us. All is energy which can be changed at will. We're dense energy forms with restrictions in space-time. The will can take a long time to change us when we accept that we're locked into materiality. We're a multiple of living systems which is energy under our control. The whole of the cosmos is energy in different forms. We look in awe at it. We even look in awe at a single rose. Many of us fail to look in awe at ourselves. Our own bodies are awesome. The myriads of systems which we control keep our bodies alive. We should appreciate every moment of our existence because we have coordinated energy to map out this process. Beauty and joy should be result of our observation of this feat of energy of which we are the co-creators. Matter is the result of energy in motion. Motion is life. Matter reforms in an intelligent way. Energy reforms in an intelligent way. We have learned to use forces of the atoms and material combinations. We don't understand it at an intrinsic level. But we use our discoveries without proper understanding. If we tried to understand, we would not move forward. The understanding of what we see and do is not possible. The days of empiricism have long departed. Mechanistic Newtonian ideas only went a tiny fraction of the way, and it took humans with deep understanding of their fields of knowledge just to break the surface of how energy works and interact with us. We cracked the surface and then were faced by the unknowable. We now accept the unknowable and use it.
The vast cosmos isn't controlled by mechanisms. It all changes form at will. One great thought of which we all belong. Energy is the builder, we're energy, we're all builders. Reality changes at energy's will as our will changes reality. Our energy level seems set in stone. We feel like we can't manipulate it. We chose this temporary form to experience dense energy. We can move to less dense energy in death or sleep. We yearn this movement out of this dense energy world, some more than others. We can get stuck with desire to possess as much of this energy formation as possible. We want to possess all the materials we see. To possess the results of energy, the motion of which seems static. The possession can dominate our lives. We think we have them forever and as a result get locked into time and space. All will dissolve and reform. We don't own anything. Our will for the experience of space-time is what keeps all the possessions there. We no longer drive forward with endless possibilities. The creativity is held back for the sake of possessions. We live and thrive within this huge ball of energy. Its energy intensifies towards the center. We didn't build ourselves the way we built ourselves by accident. Every working part of us was planned. We are not knowledgeable of our capabilities, it just happens. All controlled by each one of us individually. We are capable of feats well beyond our imaginations. The trillions of cells within us are controlled and managed by us. Each body center of ours is unique and a marvelous creation. Even more amazing is the fact that at death we change form. All the forces that build us and shape us are us. We tend to separate all the forces at work from us, but they are us. Even down to the atoms which work to form our bodies, they are us. We don't knowingly communicate with those parts of us, but we do communicate. We constantly create ourselves each second. Or zeptosecond, which is the smallest unit of time at present. We've lost awareness of all the different levels of ourselves. Our main drives are living and sensing a small part of the material world. We are blind to most of the most important levels of our existence. We are billions of years old, time beyond our imagination. We inhabit this little meat body and most of us animate it perfectly. Our little world works with us and creates great enjoyment with us. All manner of pleasure within this little body is created. It's a limited existence, perhaps at the most 100 years. We can experience great beauty and sensations. From the tiniest conceivable particle upwards, they are all doing a dance. The dance of life. The dance of energy. The pleasure principle. It all happens in pleasure. Instinctive movement to create exquisite forms. We can dance with life. We can imbue the dance with joyousness. Spontaneous creativity on a grand scale with its own musical dance. The ebb and flow of great happiness surrounds us. We disconnect from all this. We create hard, concrete, unnatural worlds around us. We disconnect from the world which creates us. We end up as magicians in concrete boxes, shielded from our own magical natures. We adorn our boxes hoping that it's a substitute for the world we are of. Copyright symbol Paul Haagensen BA 2022.